G'day everyone, welcome to another episode of Wineback Wednesday, and today I'm going to crack a fizz from the Adelaide Hills, and particularly Piccadilly. This is a Piccadilly Circus 2021 Blanc de Blanc from Piccadilly Valley, up pretty well where I live, about 25 minutes due east. Piccadilly Circus is owned by and the fruit grown and wines made by Ali and Mark Lewis. They arrived in Australia in 2014 as a result of Mark bringing his medical career over here to Australia with the kids, and they ended up in the Adelaide Hills, and this vineyard was actually planted in 1987. Blanc de Blanc obviously is white from white, so 100% Chardonnay. The three clones that they used, originally the first one was the Mendoza clone, and then there was a 910V1, and then since then the G9V7 clone has also been planted, so it's a bit of a mix there. They grow at different rates, they have slightly different subtle variations and sort of berry size and blah blah blah, but they say there's a bit of spice in the spice rack, I suppose. All hand picked, whole bunch pressed, nice clean juice, fermented out in primary fermentation and then put in bottle a number of months later for secondary fermentation. I reckon they say about 24 months on tirage, and then it's disgorged, and we are now tasting it. But obviously this is 4 years old now, so I don't know if those numbers are slightly skewed, sort of a few months backwards or forwards. But other than that, obviously Adelaide Hills is very well known for cool climate viticulture and grape growing, and so some very, very well-known sparklings come out of the Piccadilly region. Lovely little valleys there, steep slopes, cool little pockets here and there, so really good for cool climate viticulture and grape growing, especially Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and sparkling production. Without further ado, let's give it a go. I've got it's fermented, I apologise, in predominantly older French oak, before it's obviously transferred to bottle for the secondary fermentation. But let's give it a go. I love a good Blanc de Blanc. I've got serious, so I'm drinking using this glass, sort of a traditional sort of sparkling glass, with that smaller aperture. The wine comes out and hits you on the tongue, sort of more in the middle, so that acidity, like from Blanc de Blanc, is more pronounced. Sometimes if it's a blend of Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier and Chardonnay, wines are real richer and fuller, or if it's more so even just Pinot Noir, a little bit fuller and richer. Sometimes I use a slightly bigger glass because it comes over, when you taste it, that wine hits your tongue more broadly across, I find, and it gives you more richness, and you get the flavour and richness and some of the savoury notes sometimes out of those wines. But with this, Blanc de Blancs are typically austere, very focused, obviously 12.5% alcohol, good acidity I suspect from being from Piccadilly, so this is what I want. I want to hit the middle of my tongue, really be refreshing, some more aperitif style, really lovely and fresh. So look, 4, 5, 6, there's 6 half turns on the old muselet or the cage on sparklings. It's an international standard. Here we go. Great looking bit of mousse. Look at that colour, really, really pale straw. A bit of a green hue in it as well. It's a lovely citrus, sort of bath salts and just sherbet lip. Tiny bit of brioche, sort of yeast character in the back, biscuity character in the background. Not a huge amount, because obviously this is more of a fresh, lively style. There's a little bit of Granny Smith apple there as well. It's more sort of in the more fresher, more vibrant sort of spectrum. But a little bit of yeastiness in the background. Obviously we're sitting there maybe a couple of years, a little bit more. And again, straight onto the palate, lovely acidity. That is really quite creamy. That bead is very, very fine. The mousse is just, it's there. It's not coarse in any way. It's lovely rounded, good acidity, fine, lovely citrus notes, long, again near the back palate. It's not very, it's I believe a very, I suspect a very low dosage, if much at all. But that lovely little biscuity, yeasty note comes through sort of towards the back as well. So lovely refreshing style, but great length. Great length. And really quite complex on that palate. You're now tasting a second time. There's the Granny Smith apple, citrus, that brioche note comes through, a bit more pronounced actually, sort of starts in the mid palate and really fills it out. The acidity drives through the palate, holds it all together, and a lovely bead, lovely fine, creamy. So obviously I didn't mention that they came from the UK. I suspect they spent time in London, obviously Piccadilly Valley, but then this is called Piccadilly Circus, which is obviously one of the train stops on the tube over there. I've seen this in the bottle shops over the years. Their first release was 2016. As I said, obviously it came out in 2014, but the vineyard was planted in was beginning to be planted in 87, so the vineyard was mature when they purchased it, and they've slowly added bits and pieces. They also make a handful of still wines as well. I think Pinot Noir, Chardonnay obviously, and there may be something else. I haven't checked out the website completely, but really excited. I really was looking forward to seeing that. As I said, I saw it in a number of bottle shops over the last sort of 12 months or so, and I thought to myself, I've got to taste that, and here we are, had the opportunity, and again, a really classy fizz from the Adelaide Hills. Thanks for listening. The Piccadilly Circus 2021 Blanc de Blanc from Piccadilly Valley. Cheers.